Is One Piece an ongoing, never-ending filler arc? Is Skypiea one of the best One Piece arcs ever? And is all the One Piece world building more quantity than it is quality? I told y'all to drop y'all shameless hot takes in the comment section, and y'all did just that. And not so surprisingly, a lot of them had to do with One Piece. About it feeling like filler, the world building is not as actually good as everybody makes it seem, or the fact that the most hated arc is arguably the best one. And I'm about to get into all these takes, but before I do that, drop your hot takes in the comment section right now. Let's make this an ongoing conversation, and if you drop an interesting hot take that's getting a lot of traction in the comment section or I like it, I'm gonna put it in next week's hot take video. And if there is a hot take you see in the comment section that you really like, just like it, and the more likes it'll get, I'll see it. Big shout out to everybody who dropped their hot takes in last week's video. We got a lot of them, and I handpicked a few of the hottest ones. Now, I think this is one of the hottest takes, so let me set this up with comparisons and contradictions. One Piece world building is actually not that good. It just has a lot of elements to it. All right, so One Piece world building is more quantity than it is quality. I disagree. Let me give you examples. And the first example I'm gonna give you is the example that helps your point. A show with world building that has crazy quality, but really low quantity. And the second example I'm gonna give you is a show with a lot of quantity and not as much quality in terms of world building. And that example is just to show the fact that just because you have quantity in world building doesn't mean quality is guaranteed. And then I'm gonna bring it back to One Piece, which I think has quality and quantity, which makes it great world building. The best world building that's high in quality but low in quantity, I think, is Fullmetal Alchemist with no question. Fullmetal Alchemist immediately hits you with that 20th century European feel. It has very believable and realistic politics. They have social issues based in realism. They show corruption, military, and civil war the best I've ever seen in anime. And get this, it's only 64 episodes. Now let's go to the flip side of that coin. The show with a lot of quantity but not as much quality to the world building specifically, I'd argue, is Naruto. People forget that Naruto is a pretty long anime too. We got a lot of episodes in Naruto. There are a lot of arcs, there's a lot of sagas, all of that. But other than the Hidden Leaf, the next most popular village that people know about is probably the village hidden in the sand. And even that village, we really don't know much about it. And a lot of the times I felt like the village of the sand and the village of the sound and all the other hidden mist village and all that was just built up as story pieces for the main characters in the village hidden in the Leaf. I mean, the whole history of Naruto kind of originated from the Leaf Village, Hashirama and Madara and all that. That's what all the whole Fourth Great Ninja War was really all centered around. So the Leaf Village was built up great. Every other village was just kind of a stepping stone for the main characters and main story. Not to say that Naruto's world building is trash. I wouldn't say it's trash. It's just for 700 episodes, it leaves more to be desired. Naruto is still one of my favorite animes though. What they did with the story is amazing. I think it's an amazing story, amazing choreography. I just think if there was a knock on Naruto, which there aren't many, it would be the world building. And back to One Piece, I think One Piece does the best with the quantity that they have, and they put out such quality world building that it's remarkable. Oda uses the advantage of quantity the best I think we've ever seen. And I think the whole Naruto world building versus One Piece world building argument proves that quantity doesn't guarantee a great product. Every saga in One Piece introduces a new town. Then over time, you see how many places you've been, and it's actually been more than you think. I can go back to Syrup Village. I can go back to the Barity, Laurel Garden, Water 7, Sabaody. Each place has their own property, that has their own scenes, has their own culture, has their own story. The setting of Thriller Bark, the people of Thriller Bark, the enemies in Thriller Bark, the problems in Thriller Bark have nothing to do with anything we'd seen in Alabasta. Even in the Alabasta arc themselves, they went to Little Garden, which was a forest. Then they went to the snow town I'm forgetting the name of and got Chopper. And then they went to a desert kingdom. Gave everybody stories and story pieces that last throughout the whole show. And then as a fan of One Piece, after you've watched up to Dressrosa for me, you look back and you see Bellamy in Dressrosa and you'd be like, man, I remember how far I've come. This One Piece has a whole world. And when you're watching One Piece and you see all these dots and stuff being connected, I could just imagine Oda's idea brainstorming room must be crazy. I imagine he has corkboards with newspapers and lines drawn and all this other connections and everything. Because bringing back Bellamy and the fact that he's an impactful enough character that I remember exactly what he's like. I think the world building in One Piece is inarguable at that point. Quality and quantity. They do the best that anybody has ever done with quantity. But I can see what you're saying, because there are shows with great world building like Fullmetal Alchemist that don't need 1,000 episodes. All that to say, there's just different ways to do it, and there's great ways to do it either way. Outside of like 3-ish arcs, One Piece feels like a conveyor belt of never-ending filler that does just enough to keep you engaged, but never enough to make anything feel satisfying. I'm not gonna lie, the fact that you said it's a conveyor belt of never-ending filler, just imagining that is kind of hilarious. But my thoughts on that, honestly, is that not all animes are the same. Not all animes are built the same. And sometimes I feel like people make the arguments of old versus new animes when I don't see it as that either. I think I can understand somebody that would say that One Piece has a filler feeling. Most of the payoffs and the satisfying moments come after a long period of time you watch a lot of episodes. So if you were to look at One Piece on an individual episode basis, it might feel a little bit more airy than an individual episode of JJK, which is a much shorter, compact experience. Some of the shorter animes is real easy to binge watch because they have impactful moments. Every episode ends with a cliffhanger, and it's just wall to wall a thrilling experience. Jujutsu Kaisen, Death Note, Promised Neverland, Cowboy Bebop. In every one of those shorter animes, every episode feels like a movie. One Piece isn't like that at all. One Piece will dedicate an episode or two just to tell a backstory of a character that might not be around 100 episodes from now. Me personally, I disagree, because I watch One Piece with an active mindset of every name, everything, every place that is mentioned will pop up again eventually. And the fact that it will pop up again, and the fact that when it does pop up again is going to be a huge arc and a huge story surrounding that thing that was lightly mentioned 200 episodes ago, that is the reward. That is the satisfying part. And then of course, in between, you have peak moments like Luffy and Ace and Marineford, Kuma, Zoro, and Sanji in Thriller Bark, Robin scene in Enies Lobby, Usopp scenes in Water 7. So basically, to wrap this all up, I understand why somebody would think that about One Piece, but I just think that there's different styles of payoffs. One Piece is a more active mindset. This is gonna come up later, and it will come up big. But in a shorter anime like Demon Slayer, what's happening now is the most important thing that's gonna happen. But yeah, big shout out to Annalise Olsen. Maybe One Piece will help. I know there's some people in the community that hate that, but if it helps people, or maybe the manga is better. Skypiea is one of the best One Piece arcs and is way overhated. Is Skypiea one of the best? I can't say that, but I can say a lot about it. Let's just start off with the objective facts. Skypiea was very experimental. More specifically, Enel was very experimental. As most of y'all know, I'm watching One Piece. I'm still in Dressrosa right now. I think Enel, as he was in Skypiea, could survive in the New World. One of the reasons why Skypiea was so experimental is because Enel is not a pirate or a marine. He's really just an enemy, but what I'm seeing is that Enel was a taste of... Pause. You what? Pause. Enel was a glimpse of what it would be like in the New World. In all actuality, none of the Straw Hats, even Luffy, did not have a chance against Enel in terms of power. It just so happened that Luffy was his direct opposite, his kryptonite. But in my own little bread show fan theory, I think Enel could definitely take over one of the warlord's positions. I think he might be stronger than a warlord. And the fact that we saw him in Skypiea, that was pretty tough. He even was technically a hockey user because Montero was Sky People's hockey. And his hockey was so strong that he could sense people on the island just by sitting in his throne. Even by New World standards, that's some pretty masterful hockey. And then if you really think about it, on the Straw Hats' journey to being whatever they're going to become, it doesn't make sense if, it wouldn't really make sense if they were traveling the whole world and each enemy they come across just so happens to be at their limit or a little bit over to push them over the edge. In all reality, it just makes sense if they find somebody that's just overpowers them, and that's exactly what Enel was. Another way Skypiea was unique is that we got a Battle Royale One Piece arc. Skypiea is basically there so you could say not all One Piece arcs are the same, because there's no way you can get Skypiea confused with any other One Piece arc. That's how unique it was, that's how experimental it was. And now that I watched up to Dressrosa, the Jaya mini arc that came before Skypiea ended up being just as important as Skypiea itself. We saw the beginnings of Blackbeard. We even saw Doflamingo at the beginning of this arc. We saw Bellamy in this arc. We saw the beginnings of Blackbeard versus Ace in this arc, which set up Marineford. Is Skypiea one of the best? I don't know if I could say it's one of the, I think of one of the best as top 3. And when I think of Alabasta, Marineford, Annie's Lobby, and even Punk Hazard that I really like, and Dressrosa, which has a lot of hype around it, I don't know if Skypiea is in the top 3 for me, but it is really good, and suggesting that people should skip it, I think it's beyond crazy. If you skip Skypiea, you're ruining Marineford for yourself. If you skip Skypiea, you're ruining Sabaody Archipelago for yourself. You're ruining Dressrosa and whatever comes after Dressrosa. All right, now I'm gonna mention some of the other takes that I liked. One Punch Man is just the Tick with an anime reskin. I have to watch the Tick. I've never seen the Tick. I looked it up, and if I'm looking at it correctly, it's like a superhero series from 2016. I'm gonna check it out. I like One Punch Man, so I probably should like the Tick too. There was great discussion in here about Yu Yu Hakusho and all that. Baldur's Gate Series 3 is the best game series of all time in feats of gaming in their respective time. I like that take. I like the stance of it. It's just that I've never played Baldur's Gate, the games. I probably should get around to it, even though I don't usually like those style of games. And I just remember being hot that at one point there were games like God of War. It was either God of War or Spider-Man, and Baldur's Gate came out on top, and I was like, man, like, I think God of War got robbed, but apparently Baldur's Gate is really like that. I'm gonna have to check that out too. Smaller VTubers/streamers are more fun to watch live. This is because when they are so big, basically it's not any different versus if you were watching it pre-recorded. Smaller ones will actually talk and react to you a lot more likely and easily. That's why. Me personally, I like this take. I agree with a lot of it. I disagree with some parts. And of course, I'm a small streamer myself. And y'all should check out the streams. I see it on Pixelmon all the time because I'm running a Pixelmon server with my boy Dex. Regular chatters and people that join in on the chat end up becoming part of the whole experience. And all of the regular chatters, thank y'all, because y'all definitely make the streams lit. Bigger streamers are fun to watch live. I watch big streamers all the time. RDC is probably my favorite. But then, you know, they're bigger for a reason. They're really entertaining. And yeah, it's definitely harder to reach them. I know, because I've tried. But at the same time, I grew up on the pre-recorded era of YouTube where everything just wasn't just streaming. So yeah, sometimes you do get the feeling of watching a pre-recorded video because the bigger streamers aren't as accessible, but I have no problems with pre-recorded, to be honest with you. I watched a lot of pre-recorded stuff growing up. As a matter of fact, like 90% of it was pre-recorded. So big shout out to the small streamers and big shout out to the big streamers also. We got another take. Demon Slayer is mid. There really wasn't much else to it. It's just that Demon Slayer is mid. What I see going around about Demon Slayer is that it's mainly just a lot of nice animation and good colors, and the story itself actually isn't that great. If you can come out with 3 movies that are expected to do really well and you already came out with a big movie, then people are coming there for the story. If you want to see art, go to a museum. Demon Slayer, in my opinion, just brings a lot more than that. And Demon Slayer has one thing that I feel like is kind of being lost in anime. A whole bunch of newer animes is all like serious. It's all, you know, the main characters have like an evil side to them and it's pessimistic, and it's just like, you know, the world gonna end. The JJKs, the anime, the Attack on Titans, just, you know, more like negative outlooks on everything. I just feel like Demon Slayer keeps that super positive main character build alive. And I think it's super needed. Not everything's so pessimistic. Tanjiro can make light of any situation he's in, and I think that's commendable. So yeah, Demon Slayer is different in that way. I really like Demon Slayer, and I'm super hyped for the movies. Yeah, that's all it takes. Join the streams, drop your hot takes, like other people's hot takes, and we will do this again next week. This was really good. I'm gonna edit it. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully I convinced y'all to hit that subscribe button. We trying to get on to the road to 10K. We trying to get to 10K, and yeah, spread love, give inspiration in all you do, and peace out.
Welcome to the Crash Show. Take 2.